Welcome to the Antisocial Chat Show. I'm Eleanor Gould, Chief Copywriter and Undomestic Cotters at Creative Copywriting. And here's my host, Tara.
Hi there, I'm Tara Tamiko, digital marketer and app queen, iOS apps, by the way.
Great. So this week, Tara, we're talking about processes.
Oh, boo, boring. I'm just joking.
Yeah. You love processes.
I'm joking. I'm sure.
Screen.
I just want to make sure nobody falls asleep because they probably hear that and go, oh, but it's a good thing. So.
Yeah, but they don't know that our processes started off from a belly flop. To explain, I wrote an email to my list last week about belly flops and processes because I was making the analogy of somebody who was beside the swimming pool and, you know, prancing about like a pony, doing all their press-ups and things, had all the gear. And then when they actually went to jump in the pool, they did this massive, great big belly flop. And I made the analogy to some people who have too many process when they're onboarding a client. And it's not just freelancers who do this, also big companies do it. You know, the thing when they're after the big client and they get all their big guns out and the marketing people. And then when you actually win the account, they probably haven't even got a department set up for it yet. They're like, oh my God, quick, get so in the corner. Yeah. Let's make up a department quick and kind of leave you to it. So that was what I was kind of getting at. Like sometimes you can make this great big show to your client, get them to do this, that, and jump through all the hoops before you onboard them. And then once they're there, it's all a bit of a damp squib, really. So. Yeah. I know there's also the other side of that some people have no processes. And really, it's interesting because as a copywriter, there are certain questions I have to ask before I onboard people. Mm-hmm. And I know that some people might think who haven't hired a copywriter before, oh my God, why is she asking that? And it can seem a bit unnecessary, but actually there are certain questions you do need to ask. What about you, Tara? What are your thoughts on the whole process and onboarding clients? When is it too much? When's it too little?
I have been told that I'm very organized, and as a compliment. So I guess my process is okay, but I'm very much a process girl. I really am. When it comes to anything, I've actually kind of chilled out when it comes to holidays because I used to be able to map out everything. But I think it's because of my background in the corporate world. You know, I learned how to type on a typewriter. So you had to have the carbon copy, showing my age now and so forth. So there was a certain way that you did things. And when the digital age came about, I embraced it. But instead of, just getting sloppy with things, I tried to incorporate it. It's really hard for me to work in a very disorganized way when it comes to business. Now, if I were to show you my home, you would not believe me. So, I love apps and I call myself the app queen, but it's apps, products, software, tools, and everything like that. And I'm always talking about the AppSumo deals that I get. I realized today that I have a business model, and when I'm getting these tools, sometimes I'm trying to get the tools to fit into my business model and it doesn't work. I'm about to make a refund on quite a few of them. And I realized that, it's great to have somebody sign something digitally, but why can't I just send them something that they sign, scan, and send back to me, right? I don't need to spend all that time on the complicated tools that the client then has to download and they have to figure out, where do I sign? So I think it probably, like most things, depends on how you're working and how your clients react. You've got to be able to change with the client. Like, for example, when it comes to some copywriting, some people don't want to answer any questionnaire. Like, clients don't want to answer a questionnaire. One of my clients, we have interviews. So I interview her and then I'll use Zoom and take notes or transcribe afterwards. But, maybe some clients don't like that. They want to just fill in a questionnaire.
Yeah, no, I have to say, if somebody doesn't want to fill in the questionnaire, they'll just ask the same questions, but, on a call, but that's fine. And like you say, jot down the answers. But it reminds me, actually, going back to what you were saying about all the apps you have. I noticed lots of people, have things like Calendly and other things to book a meeting. And I've I've actually been speaking to someone before, you know, like having a conversation. They said, "Oh, I'll send you a meeting request," and it's for like 2 minutes time, and I'm like, well, we're online, aren't we? You know, so that can be a bit,
that's a bit,
a bit overkill. And so I think it's really important that we, you know, have all these apps and use the processes if they work, but if they don't suit our clients, then, you know, we need to go, okay, that's fine, we don't need to use that, let's do, you know, let's be flexible.
Exactly. But you know, when we talk about processes, it's not just the onboarding, it's how you carry out, you know, the work and everything. And what I have found that is, if you work in a certain way and that is your process, when you're attracting your clients, they're going to know, because you're going to tell them, and they know what they're working with. And if that's not for them, then, you know, because there are a lot of people out there, and I've worked with these type of people who are so disorganized. They are like, I don't know, I want to say like ADHD, like that typical stereotypical, like just frantic everywhere, which, you know, a lot of entrepreneurs apparently are ADHD. And a lot of people think, oh, well, I can't work with them. I can, because you know what? A lot of people who are disorganized, they don't like it. And when somebody comes along and is like, we're doing it like this, and that, they might kind of be like, oh, no. But when you show them that it's better for them and better for their business, then they can be as disorganized as they like with everything else. But when we're working together, these are the expectations. And I think it works really, really well.
Yeah, it's interesting how maybe opposites attract, but you know, it's interesting, you know, when we're qualifying clients, because that's quite important. If they don't like the way you're actually working, then, you know, they're not the client for you either. So
and you should know this as well. There should be warning signs, you know, like if they don't call you back.
Well, I think for a copyright, if they don't want to answer your questions, any questions about their target audience, or don't know what copy they want, I find that a lot. Some people come and say, I need a copywriter. Okay, can you define your project? I'm not quite sure what I want. And it's like, well, you know, no amount of copy. If you don't know what you want, that's going to help. But if you don't know who your target audience are, you know, a writer can only do so much. As I always say, it's all the other factors it's got to be the perfect storm, if you like, really. So, you know, people who say, oh, you know, I've said this before, oh, I can, you know, my words convert and everything. Yeah, in the right circumstances.
Exactly.
You know? Otherwise, we'd all be, you know, like Shakespeare, we'd all be great writers, people running the waters, and, you know, and that's simply not the case. But yeah, going back to what we're saying, process is important as long as you don't overdo it.
I think maybe the thing is, what is your process? Like you know, I love everything digital, but I get my pen and paper out, I get A3 piece of paper, and I literally draw squares. We're going to go from A to B to C to D. And in fact, it's something that I'm working on now as part of my business, is having something really clear. You don't have to scare people away with it. You don't have to be, you know, like Sheldon in The Big Bang Theory, like, this is how it is. No, but if you have an idea of what you're doing, it's just easier to navigate the different types of people you're going to come across, so that they can, you know, I'm doing all the movement with it as well, but, you know, so you can fit them into your process. And, you know, this brings to mind, actually, come to think of it, is in the copywriter group, your Facebook copywriter group, there's a lot of people who are saying things like, you know, my client doesn't do this, or my client asks me to do that. And I think if you have a process or some sort of framework, you're not putting yourself in the employee role, because that's what's happening. If the clients know what to expect, because that's the way you work, but you have to know it yourself as well.
Yeah, but it's not only that, you should be managing expectations at the start. So in the proposal, you'll say, this is what's going to happen. You're going to sign this agreement. The agreement is something that states exactly what you're going to do. And then that sets the course, you know, after so many days, you're going to come back to me with your feedback. This is what's going to happen. This is when you're going to pay me. So everybody knows what they're doing, because otherwise a client doesn't know. If you're just like, well, here, I'm going to send you this, and then this is going to happen. You've got to tell them.
And not only that, clients don't read the proposal after the first time. So how are you going to deal with the fact that they're not going to pay attention? That's also a process you have to have in place. You know, not like, my client hasn't paid me. Well, what was your process for when your client doesn't pay you? I don't know. What do you do? Like, I don't understand that.
I was just thinking that you've probably got a little electric button signal that you send through your computer.
Listen, I make it perfectly clear in my proposal the collective debt collection agency that I will use if they don't pay.
No.
Now, they might forget it, right?
but they won't when they come knocking at the door.
Like the brew man. Remember the brew man? I don't know why I'm going there. That's insurance, prudential insurance, but I have no idea why. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Well, he did used to come around and collect your insurance premiums, but I don't know if he was a debt collector.
No, but I don't know. In this day and age, you could probably double up it. Meanwhile,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, might as well. Door-to-door salesman, eh? The original copywriters.
Gosh.
Anyway, I think we've covered processes now. Unless there's anything you wanted to say, anything more you wanted to say about that?
No, it's not.
Not going to send anybody around to anybody's house, no, to improve their process.
No.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Well, so that's us on processes. All I've got to say is if anybody wants to sign up to my email list, I have 2 lead magnets now, actually. One is on NLP copywriting tips and the other is on persuasion, and I'll leave the links below. So depending on what way you want to come into my list, that's down to you. And what have you got to offer this week?
Well, this week I just want to share my resource library, where I have detailed some processes. For example, how to spy on your competitors and other. There's about 4 lead magnets, and I'm getting ready to prepare a copywriting one, which I'm sure a lot of copywriters will love or hate and love. I'll put the link below.
What is the copywriting resource for?
It's for Facebook ads, of course.
Oh, excellent! That's a very good one. That will be good.
It's a swipe file, but I think it'll be controversial.
I can't wait to see that. Oh, that's great then. So that's goodbye from me. Love, peace and great coffee.
And toodle pips from me. Bye.
Bye.